Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being with us here tonight. I am Dr. Ana Sierra, and I am the co-founder of the Latina Healing Institute. And today I'm here with my colleague, and we'll have some amazing conversations for you today.
Yes, and my name is Alani Bankhead. I'm a certified professional coach and also the co-founder of the Latina Healing Institute. And we are so excited to do this little impromptu talk with you guys, just to give you some encouragement on your journey to healing and just being the very best version of yourself. So,
So we've been in this journey of the Latina Healing Institute for a little over a year, right? So we've known a lot of Latinas, amazing women that have worked so hard to get a great career, to have, to kind of break that, glass ceiling, keep on moving forward in society here in the United States. And many times there are women that are the only person of color in their industry or academia, or we've been learning so much. And I think I've been so encouraged to know that there's something that brings us together to the space of the Latina Healing Institute, right? And I think we've found very interesting things from working together with women that are very high achievers. They're very powerful, they're very chingonas, and at the same time, they let themselves last. They leave themselves for last, because as Latinas, we are raised to take care of everyone else, to make sure everything else is fine, but we're not really taught how to take care of ourselves. I think you froze.
yeah, absolutely. And actually, oh, can you get me? Am I here? Do you see me?
Yes, you're here.
Oh, sorry. No, absolutely. And so, in addition to all the research and all the group coaching that we've done, we've started to see these trends. And one of the biggest things that you guys have told us that you want more of are self-care tips. And, as far as what self-care looks like for Latinas, like, for sure, you hear all the stuff these days about meditate, do yoga, right? Like, put yourself first. But what does that actually look like? What are the mechanics of doing that in a practical way? And what do you do when you try something and it doesn't really work for you? Where do you go from there? And so we're really excited to sort of share some tips with you and also talk about some of the things that we have coming up, including we have group coaching in a little bit. If anybody last minute still wants to sign up, you are more than welcome. But Anna, I'm curious, like, for you, what are you seeing as far as the biggest barriers to self-care for Latinas?
I'm seeing that, what happens is, because the women that we work with that come to the space, we all seem to have similarities in the way that we live our lives, right? We are very high achieving, very busy women. A lot of times women that have worked hard to get great education so they can move forward. And what comes with that naturally is a busy schedule, right? A different responsibilities. Maybe people who are married, have children. They have to kind of mitigate between all those responsibilities, and especially as Latinas, though, that we are taught we're so ingrained, and it's so ingrained in our brain that we have to be good moms, good wives, good everything. But at the same time, we want to feel really good about being independent and having our career and making our way into industries that we're in. So having to do it all is in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not all the time possible, or it doesn't leave a lot of time to actually put yourself first on a daily basis, whether it is doing some self-care thing, but also we don't have spaces that we can come together and talk about things. We don't have spaces designed for us, right? That's why we brought this whole project on, to provide that space, to bring together Latinas. But those are the barriers, busyness, mitigating all these different responsibilities, and you know kind of trying to figure out what self-care is and how to implement it into our daily lives, or how to even take advantage of something like that helps you disconnect from everything else that's going on. Like this retreat that we have is one of those spaces. But what about you? What have you noticed in our journey?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that the people that come to us are all similar in that, like you said, very high achieving, very well educated, or on their way, or have aspirations to be very well educated, right? But the point being, there really is that inner desire to just achieve the best version of yourself. But one thing that definitely stuck out in between the lines that I also want to highlight is there's like the system, right? So when you talked about the ideas that are ingrained in us that we have to be good at everything, we have to be an amazing wife, amazing parent, an amazing worker, and do the self-care and like feel really great about ourselves, right? A lot of those things and those rules come from these systems that exist like in the ether and dictate a lot of how we behave. And we talk a lot about that in the retreats. We have this whole block where we talk about the different systems and rules that are part of the Latinx culture that unfortunately, although maybe well intended, hold us back a lot of ways. And then so comparing that with, this is a system, these are things that to some degree are out of your control, right? How people react to you, the microaggressions you experience at work, stuff like that, versus what can you control? And self-care is absolutely one of those things where when you get to that point of, how do I fill myself? How do I fill my cup so that I'm operating from a place of overflowing and abundance rather than lack and exhaustion and scarcity and all of that? And I know for me, back in the day, when I first started getting on board with the self-care thing, I really struggled because I would go to yoga or I would meditate or do whatever thing, and I would still not feel rested. Like I'd be like, why don't I feel amazing? So self-care even became part of this checklist thing for me where I did the one thing and I expected just to have this feeling of peace and calm. It wasn't until much later that I realized that some things don't work as well for me as for other people. And also that it takes time, right? Like I have to practice some things. Like it's called a meditation or a practice, not meditation perfection. And so the more I leaned into making that space for myself and the objective being present, not being perfect in my meditation, things really started to shift for me. But what about you? What do you do for self-care, Anna?
Well, I think it's a journey, right? So we have to see self-care in a way, a journey that we engage with or not engage with on a daily basis. So, I mean, yes, everybody knows, oh, do some yoga, do some running, breathe. That's great, but there are so many more ways to find rest, especially when we kind of sit down and like deeply analyze why we do what we do, right? And figure out, do I have some thoughts or like processes in my head as a woman, as a Latina woman, that are making me feel like I have to do 20 times better here, right? Because we have been in environments where we are made to think that way, right? That you have to prove yourself. So to me, it's checking myself every day, kind of like, am I doing too much? Like, who's expecting things from me? Is it just me putting this expectation on myself because I have gotten, I have been programmed as a Latina to feel good about overdoing everything. Right? So where do I get my feel goods every day? Where do I get those instead of finding ways to kind of get to that thing that I have to get to? I kind of figure out, no, let me just step back, rest, and think about whether that's something that's going to is actually necessary or not in my life, and mitigate those responsibilities. If it's not necessary in my life, if I don't need to do it, then I'm gonna like give it space and do it somewhere else, but not to try to take all of it at once, right? Or get my daily motivation from the how much I can accomplish, because I think that's one of the stressors for high achievers and women, Latinas who are in these environments. Like we just feel so good about doing everything and extra, But then
Yeah.
is that what we need to be doing? Where else do I get those? How connected I am to my identity as well, because when you're secure in your identity, you tend to like not listen to all that buzz that's going on outside. It's like your internet might be a little
Yeah,
choppy.
absolutely. And the other oh yeah, sorry. And the other thing that also is really helpful and powerful too is sharing the burdens with other people, right? So coming in community so that you can sharpen and be sharpened by other people who are like you. And especially as high achieving, independent women, we feel like we want to do things and have to do things all by ourselves. And so it
Right.
is a struggle the first time when you're like, well, why would I heal in community when I can just heal myself, right? Like I can do anything, I can do everything. And that is, yes, you can. But the point being, there's something really special that we've experienced in these sessions and at the retreats where when you're together and people are sharing their story and hearing me too, and I experienced the same thing, and this is my story. And obviously people feel less alone on their journey, but also there's like this thing that happens when I don't want to say it's like you're transferring some of the burden to someone else, but you're letting someone else help you carry it, because it is a shared load. And there's something like that lightens you after you're able to have that release in that safe space. And safe space is a critical requirement to being able to do that, right? Is feeling comfortable. And so one thing we consistently hear from the people that we work with is, oh my gosh, it's so nice to be able to share my story without having to explain what it's like to be Latina
Right.
in this world because you understand. And so, and then, another a really amazing and beautiful byproduct has been, as you mentioned before, this idea of identity. Like we've found these women just really wrestling and rumbling with what is my real identity, right? Like
Right.
some people have immigrated, some people don't speak Spanish, some people really rejected their roots, some people had their names changed. I mean, you just hear all these different
Right.
stories. And so what does it mean to straddle multiple cultures and claim yourself? And so it's honestly really an honor for us to be able to walk through the women as
Mm-hmm.
they claim themselves.
Right, and that's that intersectionality, right? All of those identities coming together. But what does it mean when we are Latina, right? Well, what's our Latinaness? How am I seeing myself, but how by how the world sees me too, because we do walk around just kind of at the mercy of whoever can perceive whatever they want to perceive out of us. So how do we battle those things? So in the work environment, we've heard from the women like, I'm the only person here. No one gets it. Like I say something because it means something because it's actually going to be a good change uh, for like whatever organization that is, and they don't listen, right? Because some women feel like they're treated like the token in that organization. Some women feel that they're not heard, right? Because they're Latina, they kind of see you as, oh no, you're so cute. Give me the salsa recipe. That's what you're good for, kind of thing. And we've been in those spaces, right, where you are not valued in the way that it feels like you're actually being like included. So does that comes from that environment. So
Yep.
helping women realize that no, this is not a you problem, that you are like walking around thinking that you're not doing well. That's why they treat you that way. You're walking around like that because those people actually are not seeing you. And this is what we can do so that you can like make yourself seen, cause uncomfortable, reactions for people around, because that's what you need to do for yourself. Or maybe not, right? Maybe see what your strategy is going to be to deal with those environments. But taking care of Latinas who are in those spaces really means a lot, because to us, because that's first we've been there, but also we know the amount of burnout that comes out of being in spaces where there's not many of us in there, or even in leadership there's not many of us in there. So it feels isolating, and that's your job. You're at your job a lot of your life. So how does that shape my identity, right? How has that shaped my own view as a woman, as a Latina, or my self-esteem, or my ability to produce, my ability to do well in that environment? So these are some of the common things that we listen, we hear from with the women that work, that come to this space. And that's why the
Yeah,
space that
absolutely.
yeah. So, sorry, there's a delay in your or in mine, I think.
No,
We have
it's all good. Sorry, I think it might be on
yeah.
my end, um but anyway, so Anna, how can like the ladies connect with us and what are we working
Yeah.
on?
So if you're seeing down here, there's our website, latinahealinginstitute.com. You can go in there and find out more about the retreats that are coming up. We have two one-day experiences coming up on April 28th. So you'll be there that's your 9 to 5. Take care of yourself. And then that the April 29th, again, your job is to just come in, take care of yourself. And isn't it interesting, Alani, when we have the retreats and we have Latinas come in and they want to like help us do this, help us. No, 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 you're just gonna rest. And then it's like the impulse to want to help. We have to tame down. No, 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 you are being served today. That's been quite amazing to see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're having to like slap hands off of luggage because we're like, no, you're literally like not lifting a finger when you come out. We want you to feel really loved and supported and just come rest and have an opportunity to reconnect with yourself, and to sleep and whatnot. And so we love the curriculum that we came up with. It took us long time for us to come up with this curriculum where, we start the day and we do our intention setting, we get to know each other, and then we roll right into, what are the actual invisible forces that are keeping us down? And it is amazing to see the light bulbs go off where women are like, oh my gosh, I had no idea this was a thing. But it's so obvious now that it's pointed out to me. And so
Mhm.
having that awareness around those things, whether you agree with it or not. And I don't know that we've had anybody disagree with any of the points. I think it's always just been surprise and frustration and defiance and all of those emotions. But then you get to decide, okay, how am I going to interact with this force when I encounter it again? And it's really wonderful to have it in a group setting because you can hear other people's ideas, and then that may spur, your
Right.
own creative thinking on what works for you. And another big topic that comes up a lot is family struggles, right? Especially if you come from, a lot of women have families that they want you to shed your Latina identity as soon as you come to the
Yeah.
US. And there
Yeah.
are others that do the opposite, and those leave their own scars. And
Right.
so, what do you want to do with that? Like, how do we accept and forgive that past and ourselves in a lot of cases? Maybe, we were the ones that were doing the rejecting of our Latina-ness. And how do we newly define our identity moving forward and what works for us? And it is always really fun, actually, when you have usually at least once a call or once a retreat, you'll have somebody be like, can I do that? Like, am I allowed to claim this part of
Yeah.
myself? And we're like,
Right.
yes, it's your life,
Yeah.
and sometimes you need someone else to give you permission to do the thing that you can't do for
Yeah.
yourself. So and so we talk about the system, and then we roll into, a lot of other rules that you're carrying that you created yourself, that, maybe it's time to put those down as well. Or, there are a lot of women who have dreams that they want to achieve, but don't feel like it's been possible. And we help kind of peel those layers back and remind them of, they matter and their contribution matters. And we have really inspiring women that come to the retreats and the group events from all walks of life, and they're
Mhm.
all really incredible in their own right. And so it is completely different to be in a room filled with amazing, high achieving, heart-centered women who just want to make the world a little bit better place through their work. And so So yeah, the curriculum's amazing. We've got lots of delicious food, and if you need to go take a nap, we got you covered with that too. So yeah, the retreat's always a great event.
Absolutely. And it's also an emotional event, right? Because we are getting raw, we are getting deep, we are questioning some of the things that probably have been in the back of your head over there, thinking about, we've had people that like don't even know if they can call themselves Latina because, there may be third, fourth generation and they don't feel connected to, and like that loss of who am I, because so the people that like really know, are trying to figure out the difference between like what they call us here Latinos, right? Many people think that's a race, and that's not a race. That the diversity within our community, the beautiful colors of our community. So it is, there's a lot of ways to define Latina, and our job as Latina women is to get in touch with that ourselves and walk around like secure about who we are, what we do, and what we want to do without letting other things affect us, even our own programming that's in there, that's ingrained. So we love having these experiences, and we're so happy that they're coming up, getting ready for it. And if you or somebody that is interested in this, send them this chat, send them our information. You can find us also on Instagram at Latina Healing Institute, and the same tag on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So you can find us everywhere. You're welcome to go check out our Instagram account too, to see as well our testimonials from women that have attended our retreats and our group coaching. Our group coaching session is actually going to start in the next half an hour. So if you want to come to that one, I highly encourage you to go into Instagram right now, and in our bio, you'll find the link to sign up. So I can send you all of the information before we hop in.
Yeah, our group coaching event, if you want a taste of what you're going to get at the retreat, it is the perfect little appetizer. Every single time we have women show up that are like, I'm really intrigued by this. Every time they're like, I'm so blown away. I'm coming back next month. Like, this was amazing, because it's something that you didn't realize you needed until you get in the room. And so I know for us, it's just a pinch me moment to be able to do this thing that we used to do ourselves back when we used to be coworkers, working anti-trafficking work, just really frustrated and tired and burned out and all of those things. And now we get to use these tools to help heal other women so that you guys can go do the incredible work that you need to do. So hopefully we'll see you at group coaching, and yes, spread the word about the retreats. The more people, the better. We love our Latinas, and we love supporting you.
Thank you so much for being with us here in this quick charla, and we are going to be popping up here and then. So please write us about about questions, any other things that you want to know about, and we'll be happy to answer those. Have a great evening, and Alani, we gotta get ready for group coaching.
Let's go.
Good, let's get it. Bye bye.